If I told you that God has already opened the door you have been waiting for so long, but perhaps it is you who has not yet moved to walk through it, would you believe me? I am Napoleon Hill, and I have learned that the impossible is not a wall. It is simply a door you have not yet tried to push open. Today, I want to talk to you about how God can create paths where all you see are walls. But pay close attention. What I am about to say may challenge your certainties, because praying alone is not enough. You must act as if the answer has already been received. Many people believe that the change they long for must begin from the outside in, that God must first transform the situation, change people, and open opportunities, and only then will they feel that something has shifted. But throughout my life, I have learned that the true starting point is not what surrounds you. It is what is within your mind. This is where doors begin to open. This is where God finds space to work. I ask you, how many opportunities have you let slip away simply because you looked at them and told yourself, "This is not for me"? How often have you treated God like a friend you only call in desperation, instead of placing Him at the center of every step you take? Perhaps more often than you care to admit. I clearly remember a moment that marked my life. I was just beginning my journey as a writer, unknown, without resources for long travels, and without any guarantee of success. Then an invitation came to speak at an important conference, hundreds of kilometers from where I lived. My wallet screamed that it was impossible. My reason listed every excuse to refuse. But my mind had already been trained to seek paths, not excuses. I said, yes, even before I knew how I would manage it. The next morning, I received an unexpected call from a friend who owed me a small amount, and he decided to return it, exactly the amount needed for travel and lodging. At that moment, I learned that when your mind aligns with faith, you become a magnet for the improbable. Perhaps you are trapped in a mindset that sees the obstacle first and only then, if courage allows, considers the possibility of moving forward. But this is where the difference lies between those who see doors opening and those who live complaining about walls. If you fill your mind with, "I can't, I'm not able," or "It's impossible," you are closing the ground where God could plant the opportunities you have asked for. The first movement is internal. It is clearing this mental soil of the weeds of doubt and fear, and beginning to water it with thoughts that point toward victory, even if everything still seems the same outside. And I know you might think, but this doesn't change my bank account. It doesn't solve my problem right now. That is true. This step alone does not put money in your pocket nor instantly erase your difficulties. But research shows that people who cultivate a positive mental pattern are up to 31% more productive, more creative, and able to find solutions they previously could not see. It is like adjusting the focus of a lens. Suddenly, you begin to see doors that were always there, but were hidden behind the fog of your own disbelief. Today, the challenge I give you is simple but powerful. For the next few days, watch every word you speak about yourself and your life. If you catch yourself saying, "I can't," immediately replace it with, "I will find a way." If the mind insists on presenting a scenario of defeat, respond with a mental image of victory. Never underestimate the power of replacing a thought. It is like changing the key to a door. When the mind becomes open to possibility, God finds an entrance to transform the impossible into reality. And the first sign that a door from heaven has opened is when you realize it has begun unlocking inside you first. Have you noticed how most people take a step only when they are absolutely sure it will succeed? They wait for a visible sign, a signed contract, a concrete guarantee before moving. But true faith does not wait for proof. True faith acts before seeing. It walks when the path still appears hidden. It plants even without seeing the rain on the horizon. Throughout my life, I have learned that this is one of the most powerful secrets for opening doors that, to human eyes, seemed locked. I remember when I was writing a book I knew could change lives. I worked on it for months, every day, without a publisher interested, without knowing if anyone would believe in the project. Many told me, "Hill, you're wasting your time. No one will publish this." But I wrote as if the release date was already set, as if the shelves were already ready to receive it. Then one day, without warning, I received a call that would change my path. A major publisher decided to release the work. And not only that, it became one of the most important books of my career. This is how faith in motion works. You act as if you have already received, and heaven responds by aligning circumstances in favor of what you have decided to believe. This is not only spiritual, it is also proven. Research shows that when we act in alignment with the outcome we desire, our brain begins to reorganize mental and emotional patterns to make that outcome more likely. It is as if your mind begins to see paths and solutions that were previously invisible. But I need to ask you, how many times have you failed to act because you waited for things to settle? How many opportunities have you lost because you decided to wait until you were certain? The truth is that certainty never comes before movement. It is born along the way. This is why so many remain stuck in the same place for years. They confuse planning with endless waiting. If you are seeking a job, do not wait for the perfect opening to begin preparing. Update your resume now. Start sending it out. Prepare for interviews as if the appointment is already scheduled. If you want to start a business, do not wait until you have all the resources. Take the first step with what you have. Move as if you are already building something real. If you want to improve your health, do not wait for energy to appear on its own. Start with 5 minutes of walking, even if your body is not yet able to keep up with the pace of your intention. I am not talking about acting in despair, running aimlessly from one place to another. I am talking about action that arises from a deep inner certainty, even if the outside world has not yet reflected that certainty. Action guided by purpose, not fear. And this is where the key lies. When you stand up and take a step with this conviction, God responds by moving mountains that you could never move on your own. Perhaps right now, as you listen to my words, you already know the step you need to take. Perhaps it is a call you have been avoiding, an apology that could restore a relationship, a study you have been postponing, or an application you have always left for later. Do not wait for all the pieces to fall into place before moving. Start with one piece, and the others will follow. Because when you act as if the door is already open, the sound of your step echoes in heaven, and God Himself ensures that what needs to be unlocked is unlocked. Many people pray to God to open doors, yet their hands are still full of things He has already asked them to release. Perhaps this is your situation now. It is like trying to receive a gift while your arms are full of old, heavy boxes. No matter how ready the new is to be delivered, you simply have no place to put it. I have seen this happen in the life of a businessman who, for many years, was a reference in his field. He had connections, talent, and opportunities that many would only dream of. Yet he was trapped in habits and choices that went against the principles that sustain true prosperity. He did not want to change. He ignored advice, closed his ears to warnings, and in the end, lost almost everything. It was not a lack of skill, but a lack of courage to let go of what needed to be left behind. I have also been in that place. There was a period in my life when I was involved in a partnership that seemed promising at first, but over time became a burden. It was an environment that drained my energy, undermined my values, and blocked my growth. Ending that partnership seemed like an act of madness, almost financial suicide. But there was something inside me that said, trust, let go, make space. When I finally had the courage to end it and place it in God's hands, doors I had never imagined began to open. They were not ordinary doors. They were passages to opportunities one did not even know existed, paths that led to results far greater than anything I would have achieved had I remained attached to what no longer made sense. What I want you to understand is that, most of the time, what God asks you to release is not to punish you or leave you with less. It is to prepare you to receive more. But as long as you cling to the old, the new cannot arrive. Perhaps what is blocking your life now is not a lack of opportunity, but an excess of unnecessary baggage. It could be an old hurt you feed every day, a fear that paralyzes your steps, a relationship that has lost its purpose, or even a dead project that you insist on keeping alive out of sheer attachment. Ask yourself honestly, what am I holding on to that prevents my hands from receiving something new? This answer may hurt, because it often involves letting go of what is familiar, what has been part of your story, what you have learned to call mine. But if you continue insisting on holding on to what is pulling you down, you will continue blocking what could lift you up. Letting go is an act of faith. It is declaring, I believe that God has something better, even if I cannot see it now. And when this decision is made sincerely, the doors that were closed begin to move. God does not force change. He waits for you to have the courage to surrender. And true surrender is not partial. It is not letting go a little while keeping the rest. It is placing everything before Him, even what you have never shown to anyone, and trusting that the hands that created the universe are capable of taking care of every detail of your life. When this happens, the impossible ceases to be an obstacle and becomes just another testimony of what He can do. And when you look back, you realize you have lost nothing. You have merely exchanged something that limited you for something that freed you. Many people give up because they cannot bear the silence of God. They think that when nothing happens visibly, it is a sign that He is not listening. But silence is not absence. It is preparation. The greatest miracle is often being arranged behind the scenes while you learn to sustain faith without seeing. It is like commissioning a masterpiece from a great artist. You do not knock on the studio door every 5 minutes asking if it is ready. You trust that the time is necessary for every detail to be perfect. With God, it is exactly the same. I experienced this firsthand while waiting for the closing of a contract that always seemed almost there, but was never finalized. Months of expectation passed, and with each day without an answer, the temptation to give up grew. Yet I decided to do something different, to give thanks as if it were already signed. Every night before sleep, I would say, "Thank you, God, because this contract is already mine, and it will bring results beyond what I expect." And suddenly, without warning, it was not only signed, but came with bonuses and benefits I would never have dared to ask for. Gratitude is more than a pleasant feeling. It is a spiritual key. When you give thanks before seeing, you send a clear message to heaven. I trust so much that I act as if it is real. This changes your attitude toward life and also alters the way circumstances begin to align. Research shows that daily practice of gratitude can increase happiness by up to 25% and significantly reduce anxiety. This means that even while waiting, you live in a state of anticipated victory. But gratitude alone is not enough if it is passive. It requires what I call active patience, the willingness to continue acting consistently with the promise you believe in, and not to let go of the wheel just because the road seems long. It means guarding your thoughts, aligning your words with victory, and refusing to let anxiety dig up the seed you planted. Every day that passes without seeing the expected result is not a lost day, but a step closer to manifestation. That is why I want to propose something very simple yet deeply transformative. For the next 7 days, every night before going to bed, write down 5 things you are grateful for. 3 of them should be for what you are already experiencing, and 2 for what has not yet happened but you believe will. Feel this gratitude as if it is already real. Visualize yourself living it. Your brain does not distinguish between a real experience and one imagined with genuine emotion, and this begins to shape your actions, your decisions, and even the people you attract. When you maintain this attitude, something changes not only around you, but within you as well. Silence ceases to be a reason for fear and becomes a space for creation. You no longer live as someone waiting for a miracle. but as someone already living within it. And at that moment, God does not merely open a door. He builds an entire corridor for you to walk through with confidence. If there is one thing you should keep in your heart after everything you have heard here, it is that God does not open doors for those who remain still before them. He opens doors for those who prepare their mind, act with faith, let go of what needs to be left behind, and maintain gratitude even when they see nothing happening yet. This is the movement that transforms the impossible into reality. If you start practicing this today, you are already much closer than you imagine. And if you want to continue rising, the next video appearing on your screen will take you one step higher in your journey of wisdom. You will become 1% better than you are now, and every percent counts on this journey. Thank you very much for staying with me until now, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.